Hello all, welcome back to another lesson number 6 on the Queen versus Rook Endgame Masterclass. Today I'm gonna show you the third rank defense from the defending perspective. As we already know, the Rook stays on the third rank from the black perspective, cutting away the white king from reaching the black king. Also, very important, our black king should be on the center. Okay, it's on the border of the board, but with still two central squares to move on. So this is very important. So when white to move, the first thing white should do is to cut away one of the squares from the king. So the king now is limited to one central square. So basically, we will see what happens if the king moves away from the central squares and but now let's see how the rook should play. So one thing to remember is the rook needs to move away. Of course, these three squares are controlled, and this extra square also, because there's a fork over there. So the rook needs to choose one of these three squares. So the rule is when we are trying to keep the third rank defense, the rook shouldn't move away from the king. So we need to stay in the same rank, the third rank. So the rule is we look at the square color where the white king is, and we are going to the opposite color. So we are going here because this is a black, this is a light. Why? Because now let's see what happens. The king tries to approach the rook. The rook moves again to another opposite color from the king. The king, okay, tries to control. And as you can see, the rook always has one free square when it's white to move. Okay, we can go there. So here we have a square for our rook. And if this keeps on and white doesn't know the technique, again, the rook has one square. And if we try and go and we can't cut, then what will happen is black will repeat the position three times and draw the game, an unexpected draw. So when the queen cuts the king away, the rook needs to move. Let's see now what happens if the rook goes to a square that is on the same color of the white king. Okay, we are trying to move away from the king, but now just look what happens. The rook needs to move away. Why? Because all the squares are controlled. This is what happens when the rook tries to stay on the third rank, but without respecting the rule of always going to an opposite color of the white king. So now the rook needs to move away. And let's see what happens when the rook needs to move away. It will be very fast because this is the best defense, but let's check fast what happens if it goes here. Okay, I will simply grab the rook. Here it's a direct grab. If I go, let's say for example, over here, then we attack the rook and there's no way the rook can escape. Okay, you can confirm that. If it goes, for example, over here, it's going to be also simple to get the rook because now the king needs to move away from for one of these squares, and then I will grab the rook over here. Let's see, for example, here, and there is a fork. So when the rook is forced to move away from the third rank, it will be catch very easily. For example, if it goes here, there's also another fork over here. So very easy to catch the rook. So the rook needs to get away, and this is the better position. But also, it's not possible to escape with the rook because, unfortunately for black, we are controlling a checking square, and so we can approach our king, and the rook has no way to escape. Let's see, for example, if it goes here, it's the same thing. We check, and then we will have this square to fork the king. Let's see, for example. Okay, if the rook goes here, check, and if the king goes either way, I will give a fork over here. Okay, so it's not possible. Here it's a direct catch. If it goes here, there's a fork over here. So as you can see, it will be very fast to see that there are forks everywhere. If it goes here, it's a question of just maneuvering the queen. Let's see a fast example. Okay, let's see just a fast example. Okay, there's always a fork. And for example, if it comes here, here I already saw, no? Okay, and for example, if it comes here, we will very fast also find the fork. Okay, there's a fork. Okay, so the rook only good move is to go to e3, but now we can also catch it with a sequence of queen check. Very easily we can see there's only one possible move for the king, because if it comes here I have a fork over here. If it comes here I have a fork over here. Sorry. So the king needs to move here. I give another check. And grab the rook. So the only possible move is over here, but then another check over here. If it goes to this side, then I have a fork over here, so it needs to go to the other side. If it goes here, I will see that. If it goes here, it's the best defense. If it goes here, I will go here and I will have a fork, but the rook will protect, but we will see this position fast. So the king needs to go here, another check. Now the king goes to the same square, check, the rook protects, but now there's a move. The king approaches and either the king moves here and checkmate, or the king moves to the other side and checkmate directly. So as we saw, if the rook moves away from the third rank, it will be catch. So that can't be done. Let's go to the initial position and let's see what happens if the king moves away from the two central key squares. Let's see what happens if we move a bit. And now the king decides to move. The correct move was to play rook b6, staying in a different square from the king, as we saw. And then again, if the king tries to approach, there's always one square for the rook. But when the king moves away from the central squares, what happens is we approach our queen. So now we are cutting two squares, and notice this, the king is already cutting 3, the queen also 3, but now we have an extra 1. We have an extra 1. So it's just a question of approaching our king, and now what happens? The rook has no possible way to stay on the third rank, because we always have a way to catch it. So this is why we can't move away the king from the central squares, because it will be easier for our queen to reach another extra fork. Okay, and cutting the last resource that black had to escape. So in resume, when we reach the third rank defense, we, as an attacking side, we try to cut the king one square. Then the rook needs to stay in an opposite color square of the white king, and this will allows black always to have one safe square. Of course, we all know that if we are in this position, we have learned this before. This is the zugzwang third rank, and we should move the queen over here and apply the technique we already learned in the previous lesson. But against an unprepared opponent, this is the way to keep the defense the longest. Okay, hope you have enjoyed it. and of course we will see again and master in this end game. See you.